We are going to deal firmly and we are going to deal decisively with corruption.
The president has no intention whatsoever to have his contract terminated by the people of Kenya.
The shilling has continued to fall against the dollar.
This memo is about one Moses Kuria.
Sasa rais yako Marekani, ligi yako Colombia, Musali yako London, na mimi ndio nimekalia.
You have a member of parliament as the preferred presidential candidate.
President William Ruto attack on the judiciary.
I, Jonas Hospita Dongo, do swear that I will at all times.
I'm Alan Hubbard.
I am Boniface Miriko.
This is Debatable. Agree to disagree.
And good evening. A cat that is dreaming of becoming a lion must start by losing appetite for rats.
A cat
that is dreaming of becoming a lion must start by losing appetite.
Is this directed to the president?
The viewer will tell us where they can direct it to.
No, because I would directly direct it to the president, because I would consider secondary school fees rats in this situation. When you're collecting taxes from big companies, school fees ni vitu ndogo ndogo. Hizo ni panya. Achane nazo.
Good evening, wherever you are. My name is Bonified, or Boniface Mirikwa, on X at _Bonified. This is Debatable. Welcome to Monday's edition. And I am with my colleague here,
Alan Hubbard, whose name on X is the Alan Hubbard.
Yeah. Have you pressed the keyboard on your computer?
Unfortunately, I use a Mac, so we do not have the $ on the Mac.
Oh, really? Yeah. You're missing out on a lot.
But we do have a $. People will say, how ignorant is Alan? I do have a Mac. Yes, I am a Mac user, and I do have a $ on my keyboard, on my magic keyboard.
So the president said, you only need to press a button.
No, but I think it also has to do with the location. Kaptilele, if it's supposed to. I saw everybody. Like when you are in Kaptilele, network itashika. I saw memes, people running to Kaptilele, to
just
go win $ for themselves.
How was your weekend?
Before we go into my weekend, isn't it hard to defend this president?
Well, sometimes taking the defense is not easy. Sometimes, even in a football match, the opponent can be very strong, and the people who feel it.
Chelsea and Wolverhampton.
And you have Liverpool. So sometimes it's not easy to defend. The defending is actually the most hardest part in politics.
But, you see, it's very hard. There is a saying in the African traditional setting. Kijana kianguka, wazazi husema msimuokote. Wacha tu aendelee kuanguka, yani
ajirekebishe.
One ajirekebishe, but I can best explain it in Kiganda. And in Kiganda they say enume ekura bigbo. So basically what they mean, kijana anagrow kwa kuanguka. But eventually kuna wakati huyu kijana ataacha kuanguka. But president wetu ameamua tu akue kijana aendelee kuanguka kila wakati. So inakuwa ngumu kumuelewa kabisa.
Well, sometimes I think it's the way he pronounces issues. Sometimes
but there is no an outcome out of this one. For the visa we got to understand, but for $, wanafinya tu, we kazi yako tu ni kufinya computer. There is a best meme that I saw from Jogush the comedian. He was sleeping and he had a number of keyboards, and they have means, so they had a couple of $. Notes. So they were $ zinatoka tu hapo. But me, I wonder who advises our president. I've liked one thing about him, or I like one thing about him, that most of his speeches, leave alone the big day celebrations, most of his speeches are spontaneous. And I'm a believer in people who deliver spontaneous speeches, because these are words that are coming from the core, but he needs to drop that one. He needs, even if you're in the car, have a paper that sort of directs your views, so that you do not put yourself in hot soup.
Well, yeah. And we also saw Raila Odinga taking the ODM gospel far and wide.
Yeah.
And someone will dare say that Raila Odinga will not vie. I don't think you can put up all these strategies, going out to look for people to join the ODM and then not vie at the end of the day. So I think these are the things that are making people to just say Raila Odinga should vie for president.
Before we talk about Raila Odinga vying, when last did you hear a gimmick of switching off the internet be used?
It's been a while.
Yeah. People in Webuye lost their internet because of the visit of the president for a whole day. And I've seen Senegal has also used the same tactic, as they have switched off internet in the car after the presidential election was postponed. There is an opposition leader called Sonko in Senegal, anapatia sleepless night, anapatia the government sleepless nights, and I think probably the ruling party hasn't put in order who is supposed to succeed it. So that's why this president is considered one of the most democratic ones in Africa.
Yeah, Senegal is considered one of the most democratic in West Africa, a region that has had quite a few turbulences in terms of politics just recently. So if Senegal is going to shake, then the entire West Africa can shake in terms of democracy.
Absolutely. So what is this that you're saying about Raila Odinga?
Raila Odinga is a man who has a lot of strategy, as we can see him right now. He is going out to seek people to join the ODM party, which is something that all parties need to do. You need to seek membership, you need to seek people who will advance the party. You realize that after every 5 years you have an election, you need to revamp the party. You need to make the party to be popular again after an election, and that is what he is doing. So if this man is going out actively to look for people to join the ODM, then how can you tell me that this person will not vie or will not qualify to vie for president come 2027?
I always allow you to look at things unrealistically sometimes and have different views. And I would also ask you to look at this from this particular angle. We know political parties are basically faces of people in our country. It's not like in the West where you know that the Democrats they are it's about philosophy, or the Republicans, and it is only one people who is most probably dominant in the political party that will be given the ticket to front. But when you come in the situation of Kenya, who else would campaign for Kenya Kwanza or UDA if it is not the president? So when you look at from the case of Raila Odinga, and I'm not ruling out that he won't be vying probably, but what I would want to say is let's give a man a benefit of a doubt that he still wants his political party to be strong when it comes to 2027, and who better to do it than him?
Yeah, we can look at it in that way.
But you do not want to agree.
But I will slightly disagree with it because, as we have said here before, politics is also about interests. So you cannot do something that you don't have interest in. Maybe he can decide to, as you say, to have ODM to be popular and later on give someone, but it's unlikely. It's an unlikely scenario that he will be this vigorous in ODM to just come out and support someone else. If, for example, we can take the example of the former president. We know that the former president does not see himself vying for any seat in the future. Where is he right now? He's not in the limelight. He's in the background. You know, he doesn't care much about what is going on, but will support wherever he can. So, in that aspect, I believe maybe Raila Odinga will have taken that approach if maybe he saw that.
Why do you want to retire him?
I don't want to retire Raila Odinga. I'm actually saying that he's likely to vie again. So I really don't have a problem.
No, but when you say when you say he owes to take a back seat, it's like you want him to retire. I know starting of the year We had a very heated argument about the opposition and saying the opposition is not alive right now. But when you look at how the political standing right now is like, he is a de facto opposition leader, and as an opposition leader, you have to remain active.
Do you know? Let me just cut you short on that. Do you know we don't have an opposition leader? The senior most person in the opposition is Opiyo Wandayi.
Yeah, absolutely. But from a constitutional standpoint, but from a political standpoint, who is the opposition leader?
If you're saying from a political standpoint, maybe that will be the popular person who is against the president.
Say his name.
Might be Raila Odinga.
This man. But even and I do not rule out it. I do not rule it out entirely. That and there is, I think, one gentleman who also talks about matters politics. When it comes to making coalitions in 2027, if I, as ODM, has been going down to the grassroots and drumming up support for myself as a political party, whoever I go with in a coalition, there is no way they are going to take bigger seats than I am, because I have been putting in the work. Look at Kalonzo Musyoka saying he wants to be president, but man, he's not doing anything. Look at Kamwene Caucus. They say that they want to take a fair share of the government come 2027. They are not doing anything. Boardroom meetings or side gigs. But putting out press conferences and that do not really add on the value of them going to the community or the grassroots to garner this support. And ODM for ODM, I think, as many people have opined that Raila Odinga does not want to be president. He just wants to remain relevant. Because immediately after the visit of the president in Meru, they also went there. Just to show people that we are an alternative when it comes to this entire arithmetic. I think Odinga is only looking at, am I having a stronger political party come 2027? That is his end game. Because if you have a stronger political party that is vibrant, you're negotiating with everybody.
But the man has been vying for, consecutive years. So
it is a constitutional right.
It is. I'm not saying that, and I have to, let me make this clear.
It is a constitutional right.
I am not saying that by any means Raila Odinga should not vie. I enjoy the politics from Raila Odinga. I enjoy the politics from ODM. I am only saying that the way he's starting to show, we were discussing about Raila Odinga leaving politics to someone else because of age, because of the number of time he has vied and not been successful. So we were saying perhaps he's going to leave it to someone else.
Before Thomas Edison came up with the light, my brother, he had tried 1,001 times.
Yes, and it is encouraged for Raila Odinga to vie again in 2027. But he'll have a task. He will have a task.
If he will have a task or he will not have a task, he still has the right to go on and garner support for his political party. Because if his party is strong, then 2027, let me tell you something. And this you can take it to the bank. I know political things right now. Actually, right now we are not even in a political heated time, because I know all those people who are talking ill about the government right now, your opinions will be swayed by 2026. So I am not banking on anybody, particularly from these regions who are saying, oh, the president is doing this, the government is doing that. We know that this has been the norm of Kenyans. It takes a strong mind for them to remain aligned and convicted in a particular philosophy of a belief of a political party or something like that. But I guarantee you, the ruling party is not going to have the same sweeping dominance that they had in the 2022 general election. And I think that Raila Odinga knows that so much that he's starting to strategically position himself. Either he runs for president or he does not run. He knows that come 2027, he must have a big share of government come 2027.
His strong position is to run. His strong position right now is to run for president.
I am
if
looking
he doesn't
at,
run for
I'm looking at
president.
the situation. I'm looking at the situation. Even if he did not run for president, he just wants people to understand that ODM is still a political party that you can look up to.
It is unlike Kenyan politicians. It is a good thing that you're suggesting that the man is popularizing the party and also giving his side of view of things. But it is unlike Kenyan politicians to keep people abreast of everything that is going on while they don't have their interests. Because this is a country that has had the faces of people rather than the faces of the party. We know that we are in a country, sadly, that we say that we are democratic, but we are more individualistic. We support, you find someone supporting William Ruto, not UDA. Very few times someone will mention UDA. If you ask the person, what are the policies that UDA has, they won't say anything. But they will say what they hear what the president saying, you know. They will just regurgitate what the president usually says. And that is the problem that we have. So if I see the individual, the popular individual coming out, then I will not be mistaken to say that perhaps this person is only playing the cards as they are always played. That he has some interests in the political process. Yeah.
But also, there are people who are voted for, not because they were voting for, they were voted for because they were affiliated with a particular person or a particular political outfit.
That's true.
And there are people who lost out on seats because they were not affiliated to a particular outfit. So my point is, even as what you're saying, that he might run, that is a reality that I'm not ruling out, but he would not also run if it isn't a strong political party. So what I am saying is that whatever he is doing right now, he knows that this current government is losing popularity. So the more you go hone your message into the people, the more you're building the popularity of your political party. Because besides UDA, besides ODM, which other political party is vehemently campaigning in the grassroots? Nobody.
None, yeah.
Yeah. Nobody. So all these Mount Kenya leaders who are saying that we need to have a different political outfit come 2027 because this government seems like we do not have shares in it, this is the time to start.
Yeah.
It is going to be a different road for them, or not even different, a difficult road for them to say that they are going to pull a UDA stand come 2027. They won't be able to. If they want to move to have their own political party this is the time to start. Or else, you're out of government. Because one thing I'm sure of, the president is going to look for different alternatives come 2027.
He has to. He has to.
And talking about different alternatives, why does the president want to make Chebukati the CJ?
I've not had the president pronouncing himself on it.
But his topmost advisor or his topmost government official came out and said, what is wrong with Chebukati becoming the CJ? You know, Boni, I'll give a case in point, an example from a family. If the last born in a family said, leo tunakula chapo, there is a higher possibility that they had it from the mother.
They have solid intelligence.
They have solid intelligence. Nyinyi mnaweza bado mnatafuta hapa nini examples. Ni ukweli sio ukweli. Last born akiwaambia leo usiku tunakula mchele na maharagwe. That is the case. Because of the proximity to the person who makes the decisions on the food that is going to be cooked in that house. So if Musalia Mudavadi came out and he did not necessarily pronounce that Chebukati is going to be the Chief Justice, because we also do not want to misinform the people. But this came as a dossier that Raila Odinga came out and said, hey, all this plot that you're looking happening here, left, right, and center, Chebukati, former IEBC chairperson, wants to be sort of put in place as the Chief Justice. Yes, there are questions how constitutional that would be when we look at terms of constitution. But then, instead of people close to the president coming out and say that we are used to that Jamawa Vitendawili, he's bluffing, they go ahead and confirm the rumor. Because if you are the CS for whatever docket, I cannot say whatever. He's a CS4.
Musalia.
Yes, I'm forgetting his docket. foreign affairs, and also he's the prime cabinet secretary. If you come out and say what is wrong with Chebukati being a chief justice, aren't you confirming the tetesi? Then you have another close ally to the president, Wilson Sossion, goes onto television and he says Chebukati, as any other Kenyan, has the right and he has the education qualification to become the next CJ.
Well, I think he does. He does.
And I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
What I want you to understand, going back to my analogy of the last born, there is a clause, there is a possibility. The probability is higher than nay.
I will start with that connotation that Chebukati has all the papers to become a CJ because he's a lawyer, has held very, very important parastatals in the country. But it will be a silly idea. Let me just call it plainly like that. It will be a silly idea to have Chebukati as the Chief Justice. I mean, that will just be telling Kenyans that, you really don't matter in whatever we are doing. I wouldn't support that idea. Mr. Chebukati served his term as the IBC chair. He deserves to rest. I think we have a very good Chief Justice right now. Martha Koome is a very good Chief Justice. And by the way, Martha Koome is going to 2031, I believe, as the CJ. Be it what can come, retirement.
Come rain, come sunshine.
Yeah, retirement or age factor. I think she's one of the luckiest CJs in Kenya who will serve a full term. She was appointed when she was 60. And now she will retire when she's 70. Exact. 10 years retirement. So we should just expect Martha Koome to go the full term with President Ruto.
The president,
and the president should just get accustomed to it.
Wow.
That Martha Koome is going to be here until at the end of his term, if he's going to be elected in the second term. So the charter about having Chebukati as the CJ is really unbecoming of this this discussion. The entire thing is not really making sense at all.
Okay. I remember they said they have numbers, and anything in this country. There's so many reasons to show that Kenya is not a real place.
It's a CGI.
It's a CGI. There are so many things to show that Kenya is not a real place. But we'll wait and see how that plays out. And also in other news to show that Kenya is not a real place. Besides the dollars, the processing, the computers, the Chebukati becoming the next CJ. The president and actually the allies of the president, the cabinet secretary for education, his PS Belio Kipsang came out and said, by the way, you know what? It's high time you all started paying school fees through the eCitizen platform. I was like, wait a minute. Sisi wenye akina Jalango wenye walisoma kupeleka kuni shuleni, kumaanisha we are not going to get any other Jalangos in our country.
Well, in one way, you can view it as a strategy that is aimed at curtailing corruption, because we had this system where our principals, or some of them, were partaking in corruption. Devolved, you can call it devolved corruption from the treasury. Now the money is disbursed to the individual schools, and they were misappropriating these funds. I had some dialogue in the morning. Someone saying that, these principals had the best of cars. You had someone, I'm not saying that they don't deserve, they can have them, but for some of them, it is questionable. Then you have all these projects in school. You have a bus, then you are told we need another bus. We need to have a swimming pool. I can remember from experience.
From your high school.
You were told to contribute for a swimming pool that for the 4 years we never saw it. So these things, I think, were too much. Then you had there was a school that was non-existent. Quite a few of them, they were non-existent, and some funds were being disbursed towards those schools for their maintenance, and they were not there. Someone was pocketing these monies. So the administration maybe saw it wise for them to have that role to disburse these funds. And someone say that, you're having a pool of people who are doing corruption. Now you've minimized them.
Yeah.
It is possible that you can have corruption in a bigger scale because now you have few people controlling these monies. But the way I look at it is we are now going to have fewer people who are responsible for this disbursement of funds. And that makes it easier to do an oversight than having the entire pool having each and misappropriating funds. You will lose more than if you have fewer people to have an oversight over.
You see, Bonnie, there is one aspect, there is a pro and a con when it comes to this particular system. Yeah. When it comes to the management of resources, I hands down agree that at least there would be sort of a streamlined way of how these monies are being collected. But this will take me back to my initial conversation around having a central payment system for the government. Let me give you an example. And I never understand why we have these systems. The MCA has a bursary. The member of parliament has a bursary. The senator has a bursary. The governor has a bursary. The woman rep has a bursary. These are 5 people in the arms of in the legislative, who have different monies to support education. But how come that still we are not able to deal with the issue of children being able to go to school? And on top of that, you have found that schools have, or the Ministry of Education now comes in and say, we have subsidized the amount of school fees that children are going to pay when they go to school. There are those 2 issues. Now, this money has been released by the government. The members of parliament give it to the students or the parents, and now the parents have to give it back to the government. When are we going to be able to create a proper circulation of this money? Because how I look at it, we are going to have very minimal circulation of resources, and we are going to find ourselves in a country. I remember one of the reasons why, probably I am wrong, one of the reasons why Moi was able to rule Kenya for a very long time, he had a monopoly over the circulation of money. The moment you strife the circulation of money, then you have to, rich people are very hard to control because I have options. But if my options are limited within one particular person, my options are limited. So you will find that before we know it, you will find that because Western Kenya, hypothetically, they did not vote for me, now I'm going to distribute lesser resources to their institutions so that those parents can feel the pain of not voting for the government of the day. And you cannot tell me vehemently that we are immune from such decisions, because we have seen such things happen. So what parameters have we put in place to make sure that this money is going to go back into the institutions as they are supposed to be going back into the institution? Or we're going to see 1 trillion Kenyan shillings sitting there and we're going to say, let us wait, because we're going to see an amount of money that is sitting there and say, wacha tulipe madeni zetu kwanza. Alafu, what will happen to the education system in our country? It is a tough one.
The big question is now, what follows next?
And I think that is where sorry to cut you short, that is where the government of the day sort of falls short. They come up with an idea, they get excited about it, and they roll out immediately, and then they figure out how it will work, the mechanisms of it working later on. Same thing that happened with visas. Yes, it was rolled out, but then people later realize, oh, there is a gap here, there is a gap there. And it takes you more time to even actualize your initial good plan, as much as it might be. And then the time of ideating this particular plan, things or systems that have been going properly, they will not be able to work properly. My biggest question is, hawa watoto wa mahasla wenye wanalipa school fees na unga na kuni, watapeleka kuni e-Citizen ama wao watapata shule aje?
Well, I'm sure there will be some kind of the way they can convert that into money.
How?
by the school. I've not gone through the entire document to
because
understand
it's a
how they're
roadside
going to do
declaration.
that. But I will say this: I think it's a good step towards having a country that is fighting corruption, because we've seen that some of these people
But
who
it would talk otherwise. I don't know why I'm cutting you short so much. When you say it's a good step towards fighting corruption, there is a headline in the Standard this morning. The president is more back than bite when it comes to corruption, because how many people have been convicted of all the corruption cases that happened in his 1 year and 2 months, actually 1 year and 4 months in office. The president has been backing. Who has he beaten?
But we saw him
No,
telling
he has been backing, yes.
Kenya Forest Service.
Who has beaten?
Well, we'll follow that. Because they were. He gave a very good statement saying that they should be relieved of their duties and prosecuted.
Were they?
Now you know, the aspect of prosecution now is a whole another world of fighting corruption. You can't be the president. You can be very, very adamant on fighting corruption, but if the courts are not strong enough, then, you know, as a president, yes, you have enormous power across the country. What you say almost goes, but it doesn't mean that you will control every aspect of human beings in this country. You will say this, and someone will bribe that judge, and they will get a much lower sentence, or they will not. Their case will just be thrown out. You know, as a president, yes, you can give a decree, but now you leave it to the systems. If the systems are flawed, now that becomes a challenge, and now you have the entire judiciary there, and we know that we have backlogs in the court. We saw the other day 2 people who were convicted of murder. When one when one is appearing in court, the other one says that I am sick. You know, we postponed. When the hearing comes, this one is sick, the other one appears, and people play with the laws just like that. And we, at the end of the day, don't have justice. So this is a replica of what usually also happens in fighting corruption. You might have a very good idea, very good, solid plans of fighting corruption. But if that arm of government, more so the judiciary, because that is the final party to strike that mallet and say that you are guilty. If that part of or arm of the government is not straightforward on fighting corruption, then you're going to have a problem, because you are going to say, and what you say is not going to be actionable. Yeah.
All right, we'll wait and see what happens from that particular front. But it is a bumpy ride. It is a bumpy ride, and it is a time to manage each shilling that you have so prudently before the government calls it in.
Yeah.
Hata we might be told sasa tuanze kulipa rent yetu na e-citizen. All landlords get registered on e-citizen. Money gets paid through e-citizen to your houses.
That's a good one.
It's a crazy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I agree with you on that aspect that we need to have solid structures of managing this money. We are going to give this money to a central place. And I remember the president once said that he is going to make sure that he is going to make sure that he governs well and manages these resources well. If people are giving this amount of money to him or to these few sectors to manage, then they have to show it, that they have to give that strength to that idea, in that they're going to manage that resource well and give equitably. I think the word is equitably across the country, that each school will get what they deserve and at the right time, so that the entire plan can work.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is the word of a president we have to take, who said he will not borrow. And right now the Kenyan debt sits at 11 trillion Kenyan shillings. Yeah. And Namibia's president passed away and he was a very good friend to Kenya. He's the man who brokered the truce between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga back in 2018.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah. It must be nice, obviously not death, but as a vice president to finally get to have a clear glimpse of also power.
Yeah.
But and if he is to go by his word, the vice president, when he was taking over the reign, he said, "Do not worry, I am not going to be here come the next election, because also their election is due this year." The vice president said, "No, I'm not interested in running for president." So the election remains intact. People who want to vie will show up. If our political party is supposed to field anybody, they will be fielded. But me, I do not have any business in wanting to become president.
Well, is he African?
This has been Debatable. Agree to disagree. I've been your host, Alan Harber.